Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be sharing my PR story, how I became a Singapore PR. So my PR application got approved last year. So in this video, I will share how many times I applied in a PR in Singapore, what is my profile, and what worked for me in my Singapore PR application. I know that there are a lot of EP holders working and living in Singapore for close to 10 years plus, but many people find difficulty in getting their PR approved. Hence, in this video, I just want to share my PR strategy that worked for me, and I just want to share my experience with my audience so that if anyone find this useful, they can consider applying in their PR application. But I just want to put a disclaimer is that this is no way I am trying to make a statement saying that by doing these things you will get a Singapore PR. This is just a way to share my experience of PR application in Singapore, because I see a lot of the Facebook post in Indians in Singapore group where they inquire about their PR profile and what worked for successful applicants. This video is just to address that. Okay, um, let's get started. So first thing about my profile, because as you know that in Singapore, the PR approvals are based on certain ethnic quota because they want to maintain the ethnic ratio in the society. That's why let me start with sharing a bit about myself. So I am an Indian living in Singapore. So I'm Indian race, and I work in the private banking industry in Singapore for now for close to 10 years. So I work in the change management area, implementing the different banking platforms in the different banks in Singapore. My profile is as I work as a lead business analyst in one of the Singapore local banks. And a bit about my education, I have an MBA in finance and I have a BTech in electronics and communication engineering. And both of these degrees are from reputed institute from India. When I say reputed, these are not like the top five, but it's definitely the top 15, 20 institutes in Singapore, in India. Um, and and just to share, my PR was approved in June 2023. So I'm making this video in 2024, but I thought of making this video so that anyone who is watching can benefit from this video to some extent. Okay. Now a bit about my family, because I applied PR as a family. So I'm sharing some details about my family. So my wife is a homemaker, but she has a BTech degree in IT from India, and I also have two kids, one boy and a girl. So we had applied a PR as a family. Now, a bit about my tenure in Singapore. So, at the point of PR application, I was in Singapore for 7 years. So, my PR application, I applied in 2021. So, at that point, it was close to 7 years in Singapore. And before that, I had applied PR two times, but both of these were unfortunately rejected. And the current one which got approved, the PR application was pending for almost like 23 months. So at the end of 2 years I got my PR approved. So at the point of PR approval I was in Singapore for 9 years, and at the point of PR application I was in Singapore for 7 years. Okay, now this is the TV section of this video. I just want to share that what worked for me in the third application, now in the third attempt. So as I've shared that first two times it got my application was rejected. Now I in this slide I'll share what I did differently, and which I think may have helped. But again, I want to stress the fact that I think it may have helped because again, as the PR criteria is not made public, so this is the person whose approval is getting approved. They can only make an educated guess. We cannot say with certainty that if this really helped. Yeah. So first key thing that I did is that I did not remit even a single penny outside Singapore since 2017. So my PR application was in 2021. So it was a good 3 years or 3.5 years. I did not remit even a single penny outside Singapore. For the first few years in Singapore, like most Indians, I used to remit most of my savings from Singapore to India. But when I became serious of settling down in Singapore, I did not remit even a single penny to India. And the second key thing that I did differently is that I bought Singapore assets. That means I bought Singapore stocks, Singapore REITs, and also I invested in Singapore treasury bills. If you do not know what REITs are, you can look at the video that I have in my channel. That will give you some background onto what are REITs as asset class. And and one thing to highlight is that I did not put all my savings into Singapore assets. It was definitely a serious amount of money involved into Singapore stocks, REITs, and treasury bills, but still a vast majority of my investments were in US markets, but all were made in Singapore. But in Singapore assets, I made a sizable investment. It was definitely a very serious amount of money for Singapore stocks and REITs. But at the same time, to make my portfolio diversified, I still invested into US investments as well. Another key thing to highlight is that I had taken some personal loans in Singapore and I paid all the my loan on time. So I had a very good credit score in Singapore at the point of application. And the last 2 points are on to highlight that I did not frequently change my jobs when I became serious about PR. Because the first few years in Singapore, I changed my jobs very frequently. Every 1.5 to 2 years, I would change my jobs, and which I thought may have attributed to the rejections before. So I thought of staying with the same company for some time, and I'm still with the same company. It's almost close to 6 years now. But at that point of time, I thought of not changing the job, sticking to the same company. And also I was lucky enough that during my application period, which was from 2021 to 2023, during this 2 years period, I got some decent salary increases in that period, and also I got a promotion in during that period. So that kind of gave an impression that my salary has kind of increased in a quite reasonable fashion during my peer application. So in summary, if I have to summarize this, so the things that I did differently in the third attempt is that I made some serious investments into Singapore assets, and then I had a very good credit score. At the same time, I also made sure that I brought some stability into my resume, and I got some good pay raises. I think this is what worked for me in third attempt. Yeah. So before I close this video, let me share some final thoughts on this topic, because I know PR is a very important part to settle in Singapore, because without that, the cost of living for the school kids schooling expense are very high in Singapore. So as EP holders, I think most EP holders try to attempt PR multiple times. So these are some of the pointers that I'd like to share based on my PR experience of applying 3 times. So first and foremost thing to know is that PR criteria is not officially published. So whatever you see in social media or even in this video is all personal stories and anecdotes. So what worked for one may not work for another family. So every family circumstances and profile are different. Like in this video, I said, okay, I made investments in Singapore, but again, uh, some people may have commitments, financial commitments in other countries. So this strategy may not work. Yeah. So hence what, so I think based on your long-term planning where you want to settle, you have to kind of adjust your strategy accordingly. Yeah. But one key thing to do know is that if you are serious about settling in Singapore, you should try to integrate into Singapore society and demonstrate a strong financial commitment to Singapore. So if you want to stay in Singapore long term, then I think it may help to have your savings and investment in Singapore, whatever extent it's possible for that particular family. Yeah. And final thing is that not to give up. because I have seen cases where some families got their PR approved in the seventh or eighth attempt. For me, it was third attempt, but many families even keep trying for 7, 8 times and finally they get approved. So this is a very important part that if you are not serious about staying in Singapore, then you can explore other countries. But if you're serious about staying in Singapore, don't lose hope. Keep applying PR multiple times. Okay. So I hope that my experience has added some value to you. And based on this, I think you can strengthen your application when you apply PR next time. Yeah. With this, I would just like to thank you for watching this video. And if you like my video, if you think that this information was useful for you, please consider subscribing to my channel for more such quality content. With this, thank you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.